Well, at least it does have its uses, and when you can use it correctly, it is pretty fun to use. So let's get moving over here. Switch over to the left track, and up we go! Now this is essentially the training grounds for the spinner, because there are so many tracks and you can just hop from one to the next, and there are a couple of treasures for you to get as well. Like the one over here. I don't think I'm going to bother to get them all, only one of these is useful. And considering that I already have a max wallet, I'm not going to be able to pick up any of them that are rupees anyway. Well, there is one over there. I suppose this is also useful for crossing over the sand like this. But other than that, I mean, outside of this temple, there aren't going to be many sand traps for you to deal with anyway. So let's see, work our way back so we can attach to the spinner track on the other side, or we can climb on top of this, that works too. See if we can get in front of that spike trap, which we can't because we're bad at this. Of course we are. Right up this will take us up to the second floor, sort of, underneath this spike trap. Can we get back around to whatever is up there? I forget what's up here. I think a couple of Stalfos are. So let's get out the bomb arrows again. Bye, buddy. I will fight one of those eventually, but only when it's convenient. There's our piece of heart. Now the tricky part is timing your way back. What I like to do is wait for that thing to just approach so that when you finally get to it, it's spinning around. So let's hop over to the left here, then hop back over to the right, and we're sent into this little area. Now when the spinner tracks are done right, they are really fun to use. Like over here, for instance! And I'm pretty sure there are more Stalfos here as well. Or something, if I recall correctly. Hello, Stalfos! I knew you were here. Die, please. And you can die as well. And another small chest, which I think has 50 rupees. Only 10 rupees? We had to fight 2 Stalfos off for that. And I guess 10 rupees... anything less than 20 rupees the game won't allow you to put back. Or at least I think they force you to put back 20 rupees. And one of the most aggravating points in the game, which isn't really saying much. Just time these spike traps movements properly, and you'll be able to make your way through. I think it's such that if you get to it at the wrong time... I don't know what order these things spawn in, but sometimes it's really easy to get past, other times it's not. Like, you can see the one closest to me and the one second closest to me aren't exactly in tune with each other. So it's really just a matter of random chance if you can get through there or not. Just keep trying until you find something that works. And we made our way back to the opposite side of the sand pit to pick up the big key, and now we can access the boss's lair, except it's closed and we can't get into it. Luckily for us, though, the spinner has a second, yet limited use that we can actually make use of. Stick it in here, and repeatedly tap A to spin the wall open. You can see the gears in the floor will start slowly spinning in addition to the one that we're spinning, which is the spinner. And if we keep tapping the A button for long enough, it'll power the wall open. Now, of course, this should also close the areas to the left and to the right, because where's the wall going to spin into? And we did wind up actually closing off the way we went in. We can, however, get back, I believe, if we go through this side. I've never tried to cross the sand pit back. Really isn't a need to. And we have to climb this area now. So let's get over here. And we want to wait for the opportune time to jump to the middle platform there. I forget when that opportune time is. It might be now. There we go. So let's get ourselves in the spinner here. And slowly but surely make something rise up from the sands. I don't know how that activates 2 torches, though. It's really cool, but I can't think of a way to make that work. So that raises spinner tracks up for us to follow up. And that will take us up to the boss door. I tell you what, this place is a lot smaller than I remember it being. I could have sworn this place was a lot bigger, but... I mean, there's the boss door. Kind of weird. Oh well, no point putting it off. It's pretty strong to lift that door open. Well, no beating around the bush. We know a boss is in here somewhere. I venture to guess to say that's it, but it looks pretty dead to me. Zant! We finally get to fight Zant! This is his final chance to get us. He knows we're so close to the Mirror of Twilight. He's not going to let me read his text because he's actually automatically scrolling it away. That's unfortunate. I didn't know if you left the text on for long enough, it would automatically scroll off the screen. What a pain in the ass. He's not even letting me voice for him. I mean, in his defense, I don't voice act very well to begin with, and... But come on. He really has to reanimate a dead boss simply because he didn't like the voice I gave him? My controller can stop vibrating at any time. Thank you. Twilight Fossil? Stalwart. And of course the first thing you want to do is get the hell out of the middle. Now this boss is also fairly straightforward. It may take a little while for you to figure out, but just use the spinner tracks to get around him, jump off, and attack him when you get to the middle. That'll break part of his backbone and he'll sink deeper into the ground. There are two obstacles you have to watch out for in this fight. The first one, fairly obvious. You'll notice the spike traps are flying around. Activate the spinner link. You can't do it, can you? The spike traps that are sliding around the spinner track up here, those you have to watch out for as you're rotating around. And he'll also spawn those... I don't know what you call them. They're like dead soldiers or something. I don't even know if they have an actual name or not. His actual poison breath isn't going to do you too much damage. Just try to knock out as many of these soldiers as you can in one pass. And if you can get back to him in that one pass, that's great. I've never been able to get him on the first pass, at least for the third phase. But try to remember where you went in, because I don't believe those soldiers come back. Yeah, for his third phase, he has that one ring of soldiers closest to his backbone that make it really difficult to get into him. I just try to take out as many of them as possible per pass, and then slowly but surely work my way back in. Like so. Pretty straightforward, but it's also pretty fun. I think this is the best use the spinner gets in the game, this boss fight. So, we don't get to see him explode? Well, if you think about it, the only reason the other bosses explode was because they were... I wouldn't say controlled, but they were possessed by the Fused Shadows, so to speak, so... I mean, when they exploded, they only exploded because they had that evil inside them, and this thing was just reanimated. I mean, all it had was a sword in its head, and once we did enough damage to make sure that, I guess, he couldn't live anymore, that was enough. I mean, we don't need any reward for this, we're just trying to get to the top of this place, so we don't need to see him explode or anything. All we need is a bridge to the door on the opposite side there, and we'll be fine. Or he could survive as a floating skull. That makes sense too. So we're sent to the bottom here, and this is the point at which I had an extreme fangasm, because if you've ever played Ocarina of Time before, you'll recognize this music. It's the music you hear whenever you face a boss from a fire dungeon. The ones you faced in the Dodongo's Cavern, as well as Volvagia from the Fire Temple. So just knock him down with the spinner, and I believe you can also do mortal draw damage to this guy too, but I've never tried it. Yeah, I wonder how much that does. If it does any more damage or not. I guess if I was a little bit faster it would do more, but at this point, second phase, you have to start watching for spike traps. I think they only appear on one side, and then after you hit them a couple of more times they'll appear on the second one, unless I didn't do them enough damage, in which case they would only be appearing on none of them. So I'm guessing I didn't do them enough damage, but yeah, this is pretty straightforward. Just watch out for the energy balls. Try to stay on one track as long as possible, otherwise you'll start losing height a little bit too soon. So let's try the mortal draw again. Can we try the draw? There we go. And again. I wonder how much damage that does. Yeah, that should definitely be enough to activate the second phase. Because once the spike traps start coming down, you're going to realize fairly quickly that you're going to start losing height as you jump between the middle wall and the outer wall. You only gain height as you're rolling around the inner wall, so try to stick to that as long as you can. The outer wall, I believe the tracks are on the same height. So try to stay on one as long as possible. It's not so much an issue in the second phase, but it's definitely an issue for the third phase. So let's knock him down again. I don't know if you can get 3 mortal draws in on this guy. It's 2. I don't think we'd be able to finish him with 3. Yeah, I think they limit you to 2. I'm sure if I got a second one in the first phase, I definitely would have had him by now. Yeah, but this is the point you can see the spike traps on the outer wall as well. Once you get far enough down, if you jostle between the outside and the inside for long enough, you'll wind up back at the bottom again. And he's not going to appear until you get a certain height up anyway. There's no rush to get up there. He'll wait for you. It's not like he'll attack you before you're ready. Never mind, there he is. Hello, Stalwart. I guess he does attack you before you're ready. If you're just not high enough when he attacks you the 4th time, he'll go away and force you to wrap around higher. I guess that was high enough, though. Let's see if we can finish him off the fancy way. Yup. So if I didn't miss the first one, if I wasn't fooling around, would have had him. No big deal. I'm just missing the satisfaction of being able to see him explode, because he explodes off-screen behind the tower. That always bugged me a little bit. At least we can make it to the outside now, right? Alright, Giant, let's go. We're close to the Mirror of Twilight. But first, heart container. All you have to do is take one step forward. I mean, there's no way I'm going to miss that. And let's go with the spinner for no reason.